Hi, future teacher, and welcome to your preparation guide for passing the Science of Teaching Reading 293 exam, proudly presented by teacherpreps.com. The Science of Teaching Reading 293 exam assesses your understanding and application of essential reading instruction skills. It features 90 multiple-choice questions and one open-ended question, covering topics for effective reading instruction. You will have 5 hours to complete this exam, demonstrating your depth of knowledge and pedagogical skills in teaching reading to young learners. Ready to start feeling confident about passing your Science of Teaching Reading exam? Give yourself instant access to our detailed study guides, timed practice tests, video tutorials, and AI essay grader, and go from panicked to prepped to passed by signing up at teacherpreps.com. Reading Comprehension. Hello, bright educators-to-be. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of reading comprehension, so you will be totally prepared for your teacher certification exam. Starting right off with understanding types of comprehension. 1. Literal comprehension. This is the foundation. It involves understanding the information explicitly stated in the text. On test day, look out for questions that ask you to identify specific details or main points directly from the text. Skills include recognizing story elements like setting, characters, and plot as explicitly described. 2. Inferential comprehension. Here's where critical thinking kicks in. Inferential comprehension requires you to read between the lines. When examining multiple-choice questions, look for stems that ask you to infer meanings or conclusions not directly stated. This might involve predicting outcomes, interpreting character actions, or identifying implicit themes. 3. Evaluative comprehension. The highest level of comprehension. This involves making judgments about what you read, assessing the text's validity, and critiquing its content. Expect exam scenarios where you need to identify an author's bias or evaluate the strength of an argument. Factors influencing reading comprehension. Remember, comprehension doesn't exist in a vacuum. It builds upon foundational skills like word analysis, fluency, and vocabulary. A gap in any of these areas can hinder a student's ability to comprehend text effectively. Navigating text structures. As students progress, they encounter diverse text structures, especially when transitioning from fiction to nonfiction. Now, let's get you prepped all about oral and writing practice for comprehension. Strategic read-alouds. This technique involves reading a text aloud and discussing it strategically to enhance understanding. Questions like, what is the author's message? Or, why is this information important? Help deepen comprehension. Writing exercises. Activities such as writing summaries or creating outlines reinforce understanding by requiring students to process and organize information from the text. Independent reading. Encouraging regular independent reading expands vocabulary and builds familiarity with various writing styles and structures, enhancing overall comprehension. Make sure you have a firm grasp on instructional strategies for effective comprehension before, during, and after reading. Let's talk about this now. Before reading, activate background knowledge. Use tools like KWL charts to connect new information with what students already know. Pre-teach vocabulary. Introduce critical vocabulary before reading to smooth the way for comprehension. Preview the text. Discuss the book's cover, blurb, and pictures to set the stage for reading. While reading, question, classification, answer, verification. Teach students to identify whether a question is literal, inferential, or evaluative. This strategy helps them understand the depth of response required. Visualizing and paraphrasing. These strategies encourage active engagement with the text, improving retention and understanding. After reading, discussion and analysis. Engage students in discussions that explore text to self, text to text, and text to world connections. Graphic organizers. Use tools like story maps or concept webs to visually summarize and analyze the text. For your exam, you're going to need to demonstrate your understanding about the difference between comprehension of literary and informational texts. Let's start with the refresher about recognizing major genres. Genres in literature are categories that help us classify books and stories based on their content, style, and form. Here's a brief overview of some major genres you'll want to be ready to see on your exam. 1. Folktales. These are stories passed down through generations, often orally. They typically involve legends, fairy tales, and fables. 2. Science fiction. This genre explores futuristic, imaginative, or technological advances and their impact on society or individuals. 3. Fantasy, involving magical elements and otherworldly settings. Fantasy genres allow for immense creativity and escape from reality. 4. Historical fiction. These stories are set in the past and woven around historical facts, but they include fictional characters and plots. 5. Realistic fiction. These stories could happen in real life and often tackle contemporary issues, making them relatable and useful for discussion on personal and social levels. Story grammar, which refers to the framework that underpins most narrative texts. It's a tool, like a graphic organizer, that helps students understand and predict story structure, making reading a more coherent and satisfying experience. Here are the key elements. 1. Characters. These are the individuals in the story, often including a protagonist, the main character, and an antagonist, the character who opposes the protagonist. 2. Setting. This describes where and when the story takes place. 3. Plot. This is the sequence of events that make up a story. 4. Theme. The theme is the underlying message or the big idea of the story. 5. Style. This refers to how the author uses words to create the story. Now, let's dive specifically into informational texts. Your test administrators want you to take the exam with the mindset that we need to teach students to navigate informational texts by understanding their structures and features like indexes, glossaries, and graphic aids. You've just taken a deep dive into reading comprehension, a critical component of your upcoming teacher certification exam. To solidify your understanding and check your readiness, visit teacherpreps.com and take the practice test on reading comprehension. This will not only test your knowledge, but also give you a real-time experience of handling exam-like questions. Good luck, and thanks for watching.